Hi friends, it's Sarah, the owner and maker behind Multifarious Nature. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are a new viewer, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, big welcome back. I'm glad you guys are here for another episode. So we'll get right into things, and it's a beautiful day here in Michigan. I think the high is like 62 degrees Fahrenheit, super nice out. So I'm going to do a few chatting things about works in progress. Again, always surrounded by wool. I'm going to give you a little, so I'll say shop update of things. So I've been working on our girls' fleeces. Currently, I'm working on Amanita's fall 2025 fleece, picking that and getting it carded for the shop. But fun little story is, as usually you do, I had to make room for these bats that are now being completed, and I'm clearing off shelves in one of my closets in here in my knitting room, and I discovered treasures. So it's not that I didn't know I had these, but I kind of forgot about them. I've had these probably for about 2 years now. They're clean. I wash all of my wool before I ever store it in my house, and found some treasures. So I'm just going to give you guys a little glimpse. So all of these fleeces are from Ballyhoo Fiber Emporium. I want to say she's out of Kentucky. I'm pretty sure Kentucky or Tennessee. Kentucky. I'm pretty sure it's Kentucky. So not sure if you can see that very well. Don't know if that coloring is going to show, and I don't know how nice it's going to be. These are Gotland fleeces. They're absolutely gorgeous, and I kind of forgot that I had them. And I was super excited about them when I got them. And this is the fun part about storing things, is you forget, and then it's like, ta-da! So I have some absolutely gorgeous Gotland fleeces here. And my goal would be to get at least one of these carded up so that I can have it in the shop. They're super, super soft. This is a really beautiful, like multi-colored Gotland, a little bit of cream in there, some gray, of course, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So there's that one. And then I have another one here. And this one is a lamb fleece. That's a Gotland, and it's just stunning. Oh my gosh. Just stunning. Hopefully you guys can see that stunning gray. It is absolutely beautiful. Hopefully you can see that shine. Hopefully that shows through. It's stunning. So my hope is I can at least get one of these into the shop. Right now, I mean, eventually I would like to get all of it, of course, but limited time, of course. I'm getting down to the wire, which just a couple months until Michigan Fire Festival, which is so exciting. But it's like, I'm going to have to make decisions on certain things because there's reality that I can only do so much. And I want to bring as much as I possibly can. I could bring clean fleeces that just haven't been carded or anything like that. If somebody wanted to buy it by weight and then they process it themselves. I am debating on that. I don't know if that would be something people would be interested in or not. If you are, put it in the comments below. But I don't know if that's something folks would be interested in. I enjoy washing fleeces, but maybe somebody doesn't want to wash them, but they want to hand process them. So I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. I am enjoying a wonderful iced coffee, and it is like 2 p.m. I am recording on Friday. Normally I record on Thursdays, but such is life. It's just been interesting. So I am recording on Friday, and I made myself an iced lavender latte. I will not tell you the brand because I do have opinions about the brand. It's hard because I did buy it. So obviously I'm supporting them, but I don't want to bash the brand. I'll just say that the brand is notorious for having interesting relationship with the military end of things, and they're not very supportive of the military. And I have a very military background family. So I don't really want to talk about it too much, but I will say, if you can find a lavender latte, like make yourself a lavender latte at home, it's really good. Obviously, you could splurge and get one from a coffee house, but I made it at home, and I used my coffee maker and put it on the cold brew setting so it makes it super strong. Oh, is it good? Put some whole milk in there, some honey. Ooh, it's good. So there you go. So that's my afternoon beverage. I'm going to be buzzing. Probably not the best idea, but here we are. It's been a very long week for me. A very fast week, but a long week as in my body is exhausted. So that's another reason why I didn't get to record yesterday. I am pretty spent from work. It was very, very busy. So, yeah, but let's get into the works in progress, shall we? Because I have a lot of work to do. So this will probably be a shorter video, famous last words, but we'll talk about what I've been working on. So I worked on a bunch of projects this past week. I worked on my shawl, the Mystery Musicale by Stephen West. And I don't know if you guys remember, make sure this is the correct direction here. I was in this modular section last time we spoke, finished that up, and now I am working on this section, which if I get a little closer, you hopefully can see it. So it kind of looks like a basket weave. It's pretty cool. So that's what I'm currently working on. And hopefully you can see the color nicely. Now, these are all my colorways. This is going to be a sample at the show, so I wanted to make sure I finish it. And it has one of my favorite stitch markers on it. This was from Melly Knits Advent from like 2 years ago. It's made by an Indigenous artist. Super pretty beaded one. But anyway, so these are all my hand-dyed colorways. This is Autumn Kiss, the super vibrant peachy color. Then we have Hunter's Moon? Yeah, Hunter's Moon. The Nightshade colorway, and then this one is, it's all a bunch of Hocus Pocus. It's this really fun multi-speckled purple cream, and there's some like yellow in there. So I've got those going on in there, and it's getting heavy now. I still have quite a bit of the 5 skeins that I'm using, but this is getting pretty heavy. So I have to make sure I rest it on my lap when I'm knitting, and that my arms are resting and I'm not holding them up, because after the shearing we did recently, my hand is getting pretty sore. And this past week, like I said, I was at work and it was very busy. So my hand hasn't rested as much as it normally does. And I can feel it. So I have to be very careful with the weight of this shawl. I am using my Michigan Fiber Festival bag. So I did take it out of my fall bag. And it's the Michigan Fiber Festival project bag from, actually it's a tote bag, but I'm using it as a project bag. And I want to say this is from 2 years ago. I don't think it has the year on here. It's the year that they did the Valley Black Nose. I think that is 2 years ago as the artwork. All right. Loving that. Really fun pattern, intricate pattern. Definitely one you have to think about. So I always like to have patterns on the needles that are like more intricate to keep my attention, relaxing so that I don't have to focus and I can talk to people, and it's a good social pattern. And that's what my next one is. So the next one, and then small patterns that are really easy to be portable and things like that. So this is my Jaunty Shawl by Andrea Mowry of Drea Renee Knits, and the colorways are A Hint of the Holidays, which is the super beautiful hand spun here, and then my Multifarious Nature Advent. And I go over this in like every video, so I won't again, but there are varying, each section is a different breed, and I striped it. And at the end, you may have recalled me saying I might run out before I can really get to my CVM if I start putting more of the Hint of the Holidays. So I made the executive decision once I finished the Clun Forest to not do a stripe of A Hint of the Holidays, and I went straight into the beautiful CVM. So the CVM fleece, I am so close to finishing, you guys. You see how close I am to finishing? That's where I'm at. So this is what I have left of my CVM, and so I know I'm going to have leftovers of that. And when I get closer, you guys can see this. It looks very tweedy, like tweed. It's handspun CVM, so California Variegated Mutant. And there's little like cream flecks in there. I'm trying not to turn my light on because it's really nice out. I like to use the natural light if I can. Yeah, it's really beautiful, and hopefully you can see that in the knitting. It kind of creates this tweedy effect because she has banding in her fleece. And the banding means there's like striping going up the hairs. And yeah, it causes this tweedy effect, which is really cool. Okay, so that is my jaunty shawl. A lot of fun, super easy, very customizable. I'm actually doing the jaunty along, the knit along, and I need to put an updated photo because I am terrible about that. I'm lucky if I put finished photos up on like my Ravelry, and I really need to do that. So yeah, definitely want to get that finished up. It's gonna be super cozy, warm, that I can just wrap around my head and body, and like, yeah, it's enormous. Like the wingspan on this bad boy. So here's your middle, and then like, it's longer than my arm. I love it. So like I was working on this at our knit night a week ago, and it's so nice to work on because you do not have to pay really much attention. It's half fisherman's rib. It's really intuitive. Once you start doing it, the increases and then the decreases are super intuitive. You increase the beginning, and then the second half you're decreasing. It's wonderful. Like I said, very customizable based on the size and weight of your yarn and needles, all that good stuff. So definitely recommend it if you're looking for a fun, squishy shawl that you just wrap around yourself. Definitely recommend that. Next project I'm working on is this is why I don't finish projects right away, guys, because many times I work on multiple projects every week. The Leerdam, Lerdam Basics. It's a cowl. So there, hopefully you can see that. The Leerdam cowl. Hopefully that's in focus-ish. Okay. If not, definitely check it out on Ravelry. I'll include the link below. But the Leerdam cowl. And I'm using my handspun of our Amanita girl. And she has this beautiful oatmeal-like fleece. So this is the handspun. I did a 3-ply chain ply. And this is how it is knitting up. So I've gotten to the third textured patterning. The textured patterning is not very visible. Like certain portions you can see it. Like the first section has this like chevron. The second is the linen, which is really neat, like a basket weave look. The third section is called the brick stitch section. It's kind of hard to see. There's some slip stitches. I think it'll be easier to see once this is done, but just enjoying the heck out of this. It's a really fun project, and I'd say my biggest complaint about this project so far, which is not a big complaint, but for someone who likes to have a pair of needles, maybe 2 pairs if it's like a sweater that has lace and stuff, or cabling, or not cabling, ribbing. Many times your ribbing will be a smaller size than your main needles, which that's very common. So having 2 sets of needles at a time I could see happening, but this pattern actually calls for 3 sets of needles. And if you knit a lot, that's not a big deal. You probably have the needles, but if you're not a big knitter or you're just getting into it, having to buy 3 sets of needles to do 1 pattern seems to be a little extensive to me. That's my opinion. But I don't know. I still, so far, would recommend it. I would say I do not think this is necessarily a beginner pattern. And the reason I'm saying that is that there's a lot that is, there's a lot kind of assumed a little bit in the construction. Like there's things that I'm reading and I wonder what she's trying to tell me, and I have to basically kind of surmise what she was trying to tell me. And I do know how to do that. I understand that because I've knit quite a few patterns at this point. But I'm just trying to think if I was a brand new knitter who has like never knit anything before. And I am always, so if you're not new, you know this, but if you are a new person, I am always a big proponent that you can knit whatever the heck you want. If you want to knit a sweater as your first knit, go for it. If you want to knit a cabled sweater that is like as like Gansy looking with all this like beautiful sweater with all this detailing that could make anybody lose their mind. If you want to do that as your first knit, do it. I say do it, because if you're highly motivated, you will get it done and eventually it'll work. Like, it will be fine. If you make a big mess and you got to do it again, hey, it's a learning experience. So I am always a big proponent for that. However, I will say one thing that I definitely recommend. There are certain patterns that are better for beginners because they give you more information, where if you're starting doing certain patterns, it assumes you understand certain things already, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's common. There are some pattern designers that really gear their patterns towards people that have been knitting for a while. And my understanding is that certain patterns, I think there are many Japanese textured patterns that really don't give you a lot of information. It's not verbally, but not a lot of information written. There's a lot of information charted, but it's charted, so you have to like read the charts. So that's different too. I don't know. It's just learning a new language. And if you understand what's going on, if you understand the construction already of something, which this is not overly complicated. It's a cowl, a tube that you'll attach together. So, I mean, it's not overly complicated. You really can't screw it up. It'll either be really loose or super tight. I mean, I guess if it was too tight to put over your head, that could be an oops. But otherwise, I mean, I don't think you could really screw it up too much. But all that's to say is that I do think that if you wanted to try this as a first pattern, you could obviously do that. But I do think this would be better as a pattern after you've been knitting a few patterns. It's just my opinion. But it's not a very long pattern. It's not like overly complicated, but I do feel like, to me, it feels a little bit more like something written for someone who has done quite a bit of knitting. The textured stitches, it is not overly complicated. There's a lot of slip stitches, knitting two together, things like that. It's really not complicated. Knitting, purling, and slipping stitches is pretty much the texture. So it's not, again, it's not overly complicated, but the way the beginning of this pattern started was a little confusing. I guess I'll leave it at that. It's a little confusing. And I am not like, I don't feel like I can call myself like an advanced knitter. I'm definitely not an expert knitter. But I would say I've now probably like intermediate. I feel like maybe I could consider myself intermediate. I've knit a wide variety of things, but there's so much more to learn. There's always so much more to learn. And so I would say intermediate, maybe beginner and intermediate. And a lot of that is because, again, Hohi Locatelli's All the Lights cardigan. I want to do another one. I really do. But I also think to myself, do I though? Do I want to knit another one? It was such a project. If anybody's knit that, Hohi Locatelli's All the Lights cardigan, let me know in the comments below. Would you knit it again? Because it's nothing against the pattern. It's quite intricate. That's the right word, intricate. Like, there's a lot going on there. And I highly recommend, if you do want to tackle it, which you should because it's gorgeous, I highly recommend you use a lot of lifelines. Like, you constantly put a lifeline in. Like when you get, I'm trying to remember the construction. Like when you get to a point where you're working on a section of it, I don't even know where, like, because there's so much cabling. Oh my gosh. I twitch because that pattern has so many different, like I don't want to give too much away here. I'm going to do this far away so you probably can't read it then. But there's like charts, right? Well, there's like so many charts because there's all these different, like there's different types of cables. There's a different type of textured stitch going on that cardigan. And so there's all these like charts that you have to go to, and you have to flip back to this chart because you got to use that one, and then you got to flip back to this one because you're using that one, and then you got to like follow in an order. That was an involved pattern. The pattern looked like it got run over by a truck when I was done with it because I brought that with me everywhere. I think it took me like, in my head, it took me 6 months to make that sweater, but I do not know if it actually did. I don't know if that's actually accurate. In my head, it felt like it took 6 months, but it might have been closer to 4. But I made a huge mistake and had to like rip back, and that was just a disaster. Beautiful sweater. It was done in my, and I don't think I took photos of it. Isn't that hilarious? I don't think I took photos of it on my Ravelry. I have a video of it, I think, talking about it in my YouTube, like old YouTubes. If you go back a couple of years, because it's been a couple of years, and now I'm just starting to think about doing it again. I'd say it's about 4 years ago that I made that. I would love to, but we'll see, guys. I don't know if I can take it on. I talk about the sweater all the time. It was a big process. But I tend to like to knit sweaters. I like to knit sweaters. I like to knit, I do like to knit socks on occasion, and I definitely like to knit a lot of shawls. I think those are my primaries that I just gravitate towards. I have knit hats. I have knit cowls. I already mentioned socks. I've knit little blankets, like throws, not big blankets, but throws. I have a bigger blanket on the needles that's been on the needles for like almost 2 years now, and we'll see about that. I think I was changing it to a different blanket because it would just be more rhythmic and relaxing, which that's what that blanket would be all about. Yeah, I'm rambling. I'm totally rambling now. Anyway, what are you guys up to? What are you working on? I'd love to hear about it. I'm going to take cue from my knit group that I unfortunately didn't get to go to last night, but I'm looking forward to it next week. They posed the question, tell me about your favorite stitch marker, and I absolutely loved that question. I thought that was such a great question. So I'm going to pose that to you guys. What is your favorite stitch marker? And I don't think you can share photos on YouTube comments, but if you just describe it or like what it is, where you got it, why it's your favorite, I would just love to hear it. I love learning about what things are like people are passionate about and things like that. So definitely share it. It's something that I enjoy, and I'd love to hear about it. So yes, favorite stitch marker. And maybe your project you're working on, whatever you guys are up to, be it the fiber arts or any other projects. If you're like carve things out of wood, who knows? If you're a sewist, I'd love to hear about it. But yeah, I hope you guys are doing well. I told you it wasn't going to be super long. I hope it wasn't super long. Because I got so much work to do. But yes, I hope you guys are doing well, and have a wonderful week. And yeah, keep making. Take care, guys. Bye.